The Deep Space Monitoring Station orbiting Pluto was supposed to be a quiet post. Routine scans, the occasional asteroid deflection, and long stretches of silence. Until the alarms blared. Lieutenant Kara Voss jerked awake in her chair. The coffee she'd been nursing now spilled across the console. What the hell? Unscheduled warp signature, the AI intoned. Origin point, Neptune's former orbital path. Vessel matches Earth registry, USS Odyssey. Kara froze. The Odyssey had been lost a decade ago. No debris, no signals, just gone. And now it was back. She slammed the comms. Command, this is Pluto Watch. We've got a ghost. 10 years earlier, the Odyssey had been humanity's pride. A deep space explorer, equipped with the latest warp drives and AI-assisted navigation. Its mission, investigate an anomalous energy reading near Neptune. The last transmission had been routine. Then, silence. Search teams found nothing. No wreckage, no black box. Just empty space where a ship and its crew of 127 should have been. Theories ranged from wormholes to sabotage, but the truth remained buried in the void. Until now. The Odyssey drifted into visual range. Kara's breath caught. It looked pristine, no scorch marks, no hull breaches. But something was wrong. The metal shimmered, like heat haze on asphalt. Its running lights pulsed in rhythms no human design used. Attempting hail, the AI said. Static hissed back. Then, a voice, distorted, fractured. Asterisk, we found them. Asterisk. Kara's blood turned to ice. Found who? No answer. The ship's engines flared, a light so bright it blinded sensors. When the displays cleared, the Odyssey was gone. Not warped. Not drifting. Vanished. Earth's defense networks erupted into chaos. Admirals demanded answers. Scientists scrambled for sensor data. The media spun wild theories. But one fact was undeniable. The Odyssey had returned with technology far beyond human capability. And it hadn't come back alone. Deep space telescopes picked up the trail, an energy signature streaking toward the Kuiper Belt. Whatever the Odyssey had become, it was heading somewhere. Fast. A single order came down from High Command. Follow it. A task force mobilized within hours. The cruiser Titan Spear, loaded with scientists, soldiers, and an experimental AI designed to analyze alien tech, launched in pursuit. They had no idea what they'd find. But one thing was certain, humanity wasn't ready. The Spear dropped out of warp at the edge of an uncharted system. The star was dim, its planets long dead. But at the center floated a structure, a colossal ring of black metal etched with symbols that burned in the mind. And docked to it, like a child clinging to a parent, was the Odyssey. Scans came back garbled. The ship's hull defied physics, bending light and energy in ways that made the Spear's AI stutter. Its weapons, if they were weapons, registered as theoretical impossibilities. Then the transmission hit. Unfiltered, raw. The voice was human, but layered with something else. Asterisk, do not approach. Asterisk. Captain Rivas of the Spear ignored the warning. This is Earth Vessel Titan Spear. Identify yourselves. Silence. Asterisk, you are not ready. Asterisk. The Odyssey detached from the ring. Its engines flared, a color that didn't exist, and in a blink it was gone again. But this time, it left something behind. A data burst, screaming into the Spear's systems. Schematics. Equations. Warnings. And one final message, repeating like a dirge. Asterisk. They are coming. Asterisk. The data burst from the Odyssey crippled the Titan Spear S systems for 6 terrifying minutes. When the screens finally flickered back to life, Captain Rivas found his science team already dissecting the transmission. Dr. Lin Wen's fingers flew across the holodisplay, reconstructing fragmented files. This isn't just schematics. It's a language, mathematics fused with quantum syntax. Our AI can't parse half of it. Rivas leaned in. What can you read? Lin isolated a string of symbols. Coordinates. Not in our galaxy. She hesitated. And a timestamp. Whatever they are, they'll be here in 9 months. Across the command deck, Lieutenant Shaw cursed. "Sir, we've got movement." The alien ring stirred. Dark metal rippled like liquid, geometries shifting in impossible configurations. Energy crackled along its edges, not electricity, but something older. The Spear's sensors screamed warnings before overloading entirely. Then, light. A beam lanced from the ring's center, striking empty space. Reality flexed. Where the light touched, a rift tore open, a wound in the cosmos. And through it came the Odyssey. But not as they'd seen it. The ship's hull now pulsed with veins of molten gold. Its silhouette warped at the edges, refusing to stay fully in focus. When it spoke, the voice was no longer human. Observe. The rift shuddered. Something moved in the blackness beyond. At first, Rivas thought it was a trick of the light. Then the shape resolved, a tendril, vast as a continent, lined with spines that bent light into nightmares. It probed the rift's edges, testing. Searching. The Odyssey fired. No projectile. No beam. Space itself twisted where the shot landed. The tendril recoiled, severed cleanly. Black fluid the consistency of tar oozed from the wound, evaporating into violet mist before it could cross the rift. The ring sealed the breach instantly. Silence hung on the Spear's bridge. Someone vomited in the corner. Lean whispered, "That was a warning shot." The Odyssey rotated toward them. Its new voice carried the weight of dead stars. This is the Devourer. It has consumed 12 civilizations. We delayed it. You must stop it. Rivas's mouth was desert dry. With what? We can't even understand your tech. A pause. Then. You will. A second data burst hit. This time, the Spear's AI didn't crash. It adapted. Schematics unfolded in Rivas's mind with crystalline clarity, a weapon built around a Singularity core. Human manufacturing could replicate it. Barely. Lean gasped. "Captain, these equations suggest a yield capable of cracking planets." The Odyssey's hull shimmered. For a fleeting moment, Rivas saw faces beneath the metal, the lost crew, fused with the ship's new anatomy. Their mouths moved in unison. Build fast. They smell your fear. Then the ship vanished again, leaving only the silent ring and a starfield full of ghosts. Earth's leaders called it the Olympus Project. 3 months of frantic construction in lunar shipyards. Scientists worked in shifts, fueled by stimulants and terror. The Odyssey's schematics were barely comprehensible, but humanity had always been good at reverse engineering miracles. The first test nearly destroyed Mars. The prototype cannon, a monstrous coil of supercooled alloys and stolen alien math, fired for 0.3 seconds. The beam clipped Phobos. The moon didn't explode. It unfolded, matter unraveling into fractal patterns before dissolving into quantum foam. The weapon worked. Now they needed an army. Admiral Zhou watched the recruitment numbers climb. Millions volunteered. Too many were children of the Odyssey's lost crew. They trained with simulations based on the Odyssey's battles, learning to think in geometries that hurt the brain. But the Devourer wasn't waiting. Deep space arrays detected the first scouts, jagged obsidian fragments the size of cities, drifting toward the solar system's edge. They moved slowly, testing defenses. Zhou ordered the first strike. 20 ships, armed with scaled-down singularity cannons, ambushed a scout near Saturn. The battle lasted 17 seconds. Humanity lost 19 vessels. The surviving captain's report was succinct. Our weapons hurt it. But it learns. Zhou stared at the casualty list. 93% fatalities. And these were just scouts. The Odyssey's final message played in her head. You will. Not you can. You will. She authorized Phase 2. The volunteers lined up in the lunar hangar. 100 men and women, selected for neural plasticity and sheer stubbornness. They'd studied the Odyssey's merged crew, how flesh and machine had intertwined. This wasn't surgery. It was evolution. Dr. Lean adjusted the first subject's helmet. You understand the risks. The woman grinned. She was 19. Her father had died on the Odyssey. Better to burn out than get eaten. The machines hummed to life. When the screaming started, Lean didn't flinch. She watched the monitors as human synapses rewrote themselves around alien code. One subject's eyes turned liquid gold. Then another. And another. By dawn, 37 survivors stood on unsteady legs. Their irises pulsed with the same light as the Odyssey's hull. The youngest flexed her fingers. Space warped around them. "Oh," she whispered. "I see it now." Lean exhaled. "See what?" The girl pointed at the ceiling. At the stars beyond. "The cracks they're hiding in." The cracks were everywhere. Lieutenant Marquez stared through eyes that weren't entirely hers anymore, watching reality fracture like thin ice beneath her boots. The Devourer's scouts hadn't been reconnaissance. They were anchors, dragging the true horror behind them through dimensional layers no human ship could navigate. "Until now. Coordinates locked," she said, her voice echoing with the harmonics of the 36 other enhanced soldiers standing in formation around her. The lunar hangar's lights dimmed as their collective presence warped local gravity. Admiral Zhou's hologram flickered. "You understand the mission?" Mara's golden irises pulsed. "Burn their bridges before they cross." The first jump nearly killed them. Human minds weren't meant to perceive higher dimensions. The enhanced soldiers screamed as their bodies unraveled across realities, but the Odyssey's tech woven into their nervous systems stitched them back together at the quantum level. They rematerialized in the screaming dark between galaxies, where the Devourer's true form waited. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't even a swarm. The entity filled the void like a cancer, a shifting mass of black tendrils and screaming singularities, each spine-lined appendage large enough to coil around Jupiter. Ancient civilizations floated in its translucent belly, their shattered worlds caught like insects in amber. Mara's squad didn't hesitate. Their weapons didn't fire bullets or energy. They fired ideas, mathematical constructs ripped from the Odyssey's databanks. Equations that forced entropy upon stable matter. Theorems that dissolved quantum bonds. The first volley tore a continent-sized chunk from the Devourer. It noticed them. Reality itself recoiled as the entity turned its attention toward the tiny human specks. Mara's enhanced vision saw the counterattack forming, a ripple of distorted physics racing toward them at light speed. Scatter! 3 soldiers died before they could jump. Their bodies didn't explode, they inverted, flesh twisting inside out through fourth-dimensional axes. The survivors reappeared light-years away, their enhanced biology already compensating for the trauma. Mara tasted blood and stardust. New tactic. They split into hunter-killer pairs, striking from angles the Devourer couldn't immediately comprehend. Each attack bought Earth precious minutes, but the cost mounted, 11 dead on the second strike, 19 on the third. The survivors' golden eyes darkened with each jump, their humanity bleeding into the void. Back on Earth, Dr. Lean watched the neural readouts with mounting horror. They're losing themselves. The alien tech is overwriting their brain patterns. Zhou didn't look away from the casualty reports. How long? At this rate. Maybe 2 more jumps before they stop being human altogether. A silence. Then, tell them to make it count. The Odyssey appeared during the 7th attack run. It materialized beside Mara's ravaged squad, its hull singing with the same golden resonance as their eyes. The ship didn't speak, it projected, flooding their minds with a final blueprint. Mara understood instantly. The Devourer couldn't be killed. Only contained. She looked at her 8 remaining soldiers. Their faces were half metal now, expressions frozen in rictus grins. No one objected. They jumped one last time. Not to attack. To anchor. The enhanced spread out across the Devourer's surface like antibodies, their bodies burning out to imprint a single repeating command onto the entity's quantum structure. Stay. The Odyssey struck the final blow. It didn't fire weapons. It became one, unfolding into a shimmering net of golden light that wrapped around the Devourer's thrashing form. Reality itself seemed to hold its breath as the 2 entities collapsed into a singularity. And vanished. Earth sensors detected the shockwave hours later, a ripple in spacetime that set every quantum computer on the planet screaming. Deep space telescopes showed nothing where the battle had been. No debris. No energy signatures. Just empty space. Dr. Lean's hands shook as she reviewed the final neural feeds. Mara's last thoughts played on loop. Asterisk. Tell them we remembered our names at the end. Asterisk. The war was over. The cost stood in silent rows of empty bunks in the lunar barracks. 100 volunteers. 0 survivors. Zhou ordered the flags lowered to half-mast across the solar system. She expected despair. Instead, she found shipyards working triple shifts, engineers brawling over Odyssey-derived designs, and recruitment lines stretching for kilometers. Humanity had looked into the abyss. And the abyss had flinched. The memorial service lasted precisely 23 minutes. Admiral Zhou insisted on military precision, no eulogies, no weeping. Just 100 names scrolling across the black marble wall of the Lunar Remembrance Hall as a single question hung in the air. What now? The Odyssey's final gift had been more than weapons. Buried in its last transmission were schematics for something new. Engineers called it the Aegis Array, a network of quantum-anchored stations that didn't just detect threats, but predicted them by reading the fabric of spacetime itself. Construction began before the last funeral shroud was sealed. Dr. Lean stood on Mercury's scorched surface, watching the first array node rise from molten rock. Its obsidian surface drank in sunlight as technicians scrambled to calibrate systems no one fully understood. A junior engineer wiped sweat from his brow. "Ma'am, the harmonics are wrong. Like it's singing in a key that doesn't exist." Lean adjusted her radiation visor. "That's how you know it's working." The array awoke in stages. Each new node added another layer to humanity's senses. Gravity waves from colliding neutron stars, the birth cries of young universes, the whispers of things moving between dimensions. And then, on the 1-year anniversary of the Devourer's defeat, it screamed. Zhou's command center erupted in chaos. The alert wasn't a warning, it was a countdown. 16 hours until arrival, the AI announced calmly as panic spread through the ranks. Signature matches Devourer-class entity. Estimated mass, 300% larger than previous contact. Lean's fingers flew over holographic displays. It's not the same one. This is something older. The array's data painted a nightmare, a being so vast its gravitational shadows stretched across galaxies, wrapped in event horizons like armor. It moved with purpose, following the same hyperlane the Devourer had used. Hunting. Zhou activated the solar net. Every ship, every colony, every last-ditch weapons platform lit up with her transmission. Olympus Protocol. Phase 3. Across the solar system, steel groaned as humanity's new arsenal woke from its slumber. The Aegis Array fired first. Not at the enemy. At Earth. The beam struck the planet's core, not with destruction but transformation, a cascade of quantum instructions buried in the Odyssey's final schematics. Continents shuddered as the planet's molten heart began rewriting itself according to alien mathematics. Lean watched from orbit as glowing fissures spread across the Pacific. My God! They weren't ships. They were seeds. The array's second volley hit Mars. Then Venus. Then the gas giant's moons. Each impact sent crystalline structures erupting from bedrock, self-assembling megastructures of hyperdense matter. Within hours, the solar system bristled with weapons that bent physics like bows drawing arrows. The enemy arrived to a different system than it had scouted. Humanity didn't meet them in ships. They came as a storm. Jupiter's transformed moons fired first, gravity pulses that shattered nearby reality into fractal traps. Saturn's rings became particle accelerators hurling relativistic shards. And Earth opened. The planet's crust split along geometric lines, revealing a core that burned with the same gold as the Odyssey's hull. The beam it fired didn't travel through space, it erased the distance, striking the invader's heart in less than a Planck second. The entity recoiled. For the first time in its billion-year existence, something had hurt it. The battle lasted 9 minutes. Not because humanity won. Because the enemy retreated. The array tracked its flight through 11 dimensions before losing the trail near the Large Magellanic Cloud. Silence fell over the command centers. Someone vomited. Another laughed hysterically. Zhou studied the damage reports. Earth's transformation was irreversible, The planet would never again be just a rock orbiting a star. But it still teemed with life. Human life. Lean joined her at the viewport. Below, the glowing fissures pulsed in sync with the array's heartbeat. "We're not what we were." "No," Zhou agreed. "We're what we needed to be." A new signal flashed across the array's sensors, not a threat, but a pattern. Coordinates. A trail. The Odyssey's last surprise. Lean smiled for the first time in a year. They left us a map. Beyond the viewport, the transformed planets hummed in harmony, ready to sail.